Hey YouTube, I'm Sanj. Welcome back to my channel, Sanj Designs, where I'm building my dream 6-car garage. Garage is all rendered now. Now today's going to be the painting session. So I've been walking through how we start, how we finish, and getting a great coat on the rendering. So stay tuned, see how it's done. Okay, so welcome back. It's a lovely June summer's morning, and today I'm going to be basically painting the garage, but there's a whole load of work that needs to be done in terms of prep, in terms of masking. We're also going to be putting some stabilising solution before we actually paint it with the Wagner 250 sprayer. So it's going to be quite an interesting day, actually a couple of days, so stay tuned and see how we're going to do it. As you can see, the garage is looking really nice at the moment. All the roofing's done, the guttering's done. We've basically put some temporary type 1 hardcore down. Haven't got around to doing the block paving just yet, but we are using the garage. Electrics are working, doors are working, so it's pretty cool. So let's show you what we're going to do today. So here we go, guys. So here's the garage, looking really nice. It's a nice sunny day, and it was rendered back in sort of February, so we've had plenty of time for it to cure and to set. So today is going to be mostly about prep work, and then tomorrow I'm going to be actually putting the painting on there. So the main steps we're going to do today, we've got these little weep vents. First thing I'm going to do, these weep vents, I'm just going to cut them off with a multi-tool, and then I'm going to sand and rub some of this sort of gritty stuff down. Then I'm going to apply a stabilising solution to the wall, I'll explain why, and then we're going to put 2 coats of Sandex Magnolia paint. Right, so the first job of today is to sort of just flush these weep vents. Now we need to keep them, they're all around the back and the side of the building. And what I'm going to be using is my multi-tool and just getting a nice flush, even finish. There you go. And what I'll do, I'll put a little screw in there when I come to paint it, so we don't get paint in there, otherwise that defeats the object. Right guys, so the next job is to rub down some of these walls. So what you can see, you've got a lot of this grainy stuff where it's been rendered, and that's just where the grit has pulled and come out, obviously once it's dried. Now you could leave it there, but it won't give you that nice finish. So what I'm going to do is rub it down, but sandpaper will literally won't last seconds. But what I actually found a trick on YouTube is using one of these, just a block paver. And what you basically do, just rub down the surface and the edges, and once that's done, is taking the loose stuff off, giving you a nice clean surface. So I'm going to do the whole of the garage. Hopefully it won't take me too long, but it's going to give me a nicer finish. Okay, so that is all of the walls prepped. Not trying to get perfection, just taking all the loose gritty stuff off. So it's a lot smoother than what it was. So it's quite a nice little trick with the block. So what I'm going to do now, just there's a bit of dust at the bottom, give that a good clean. I'm going to use my leaf blower down here and just clear some of the dust up. Right, so that's all the dust cleared off the plinths and off the main surfaces, but you're obviously still going to get some on the block work. So just going to use me hose pipe. I don't want to make it wet, I just want to make it really damp, take some of the loose stuff off. So I'm literally just really just very damp, not too wet. Right, so that's just quickly dampen the surface, take off any of the loose dust. Nice warm day like today, that shouldn't take too long to dry. Next stage is going to be my favourite, masking. Okay guys, if any of you watched my video where I was spraying the inside with the Wagner 250, you will see the problem I had with masking. absolutely tedious, and it took forever, and it probably took longer than it did to paint the ceiling. So I've invested in one of these. It's the 3M M300 hand masker. So I thought I'd give it a go. It's supposed to save a bit of time, a bit of energy. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to mask it, and then I'm going to spray on stabilising solution. Let's see how it goes. Right, it's a quick update. I managed to do the doors, and I started on the soffits. I just hate masking. Look at it. And then guess what? It started raining. So just be aware, when you have got one of the sprayers, it is probably the worst bit. So what I've basically done is I fashion one of these. Old Vileda Super Mop. Okay, and what I'm basically going to do is just, when I'm going round, is use that to actually mask the soffit. Let me show you. So the plan is, use that. You've probably seen something like before. Use it to mask, spray, move along, spray, move along, spray. Let's see how we go. Okay, so here's the thing about the wall. So I spoke to Sandex, who basically the paint I'm using, and they've said, obviously rub your hand across the surface. And if you get like a white chalky finish, then basically you've got to use a stabilising solution. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. So I bought a whole load, as you can see there. It was about 50 litres. Bostik stuff, got it from Amazon, fairly cheap. And they say you should either brush it or you should use a roller. But as I've got a sprayer, why not use a sprayer? So I'm going to give a sprayer a go today. Hopefully let it settle, and then I can do the second coat in terms of the, I can do the first coat in terms of the painting tomorrow. So let's see how we do that. So what I've done is I've poured 2 tubs into a 12 litre, clean 12 litre bucket. And what I'm going to be using is my extension. And basically, because the liquid is quite low viscosity, it's very watery, I'm using the 311 tip, see there, and I'm also using the red filter, which is what you're supposed to use for quite thin liquids rather than sort of emulsion paints. So let's give it a go. Okay, with Brian set up, ready to go. That was no time at all. Just going to carry on now. So welcome back to day 2. So yesterday we put all the stabilising solution on. It worked really well. Obviously the sprayer saved a lot of time, and you can see there's hardly any sort of dust or anything. So stabilising solution works. It's a small investment. I used about 25 litres for the whole garage. Masking, well, as you can see, a bit of a nightmare. Had a bit of rain last night. Caused me a bit of problems, and look how much I've got to do. So I'm not going to mask it. I'm going to use my sort of paddle board experiment, see how that goes on, and I'll feed back to you. Okay, so let's talk paint. So I'm using the Sandex Ultra Smooth Magnolia, and basically I'm going to water it down a little bit to help it with the sprayer. I'm going to be using the white filter with the 517 tip because it is quite thick. But what a tip I've learned as I've been using the sprayer is actually mix up 2 batches. So what you do is you put your feeder in one and then you top up with the other one, because every time you take the feeder out, you've got to re-prime the sprayer. So it's easier just to keep it in one bucket and just keep topping up with paint as you go along. Okay, so that's 2 batches mixed up. And now we're just going to load it into the sprayer. Okay, so it's 10:30 Let's see how long it takes to do the whole of the garage with one coat with the sprayer. Okay, so I'll show you how quick it is to paint 3/4 of the wall with the sprayer. No time at all. Much easier than a roller, much easier than a brush, and a better finish. So now I'm going to show you the paddleboard method versus the masking method. Risk versus reward at the end of the day. So what I've done, I've dropped the pressure down to about 3 to reduce the amount of overspray, and then basically from there I'm actually going to be going spraying downwards rather than across. You see what I mean? There you go. So look, I'm not going to lie, there are bits of overspray, but you know, you can wipe those down, clean those off with a decent cleaning solution. So masking obviously needs a job, but it takes longer. And the paddle method is really risk versus reward. Okay, so the time is now 2:20, and that's the first coat done. So it took a while. Most of the time was actually moving the ladders and the equipment around, but you'd have the same problem if you had a roller. So now I'm just going to let that dry for a couple of hours, and then we're going to do the second coat. Okay, so the time is 4:45 in the afternoon. And the garage is painted. So that's the back, the sides and the front. 2 coats sprayed on, Sandex Magnolia. I'm really happy with it. Yeah, obviously there's a few little runs here and there, a little bit of patchiness, but you're going to get that with a roller and a brush anyway. But the amount of time I saved was fantastic. So there you go guys, that's how I've done start to finish painting the outside of the garage. So that was before, and this is after. So there you have it. That was 2 days work, so 1 day to prep. So we did the rubbing down with the stone, we did the stabilising solution, masking. I just can't mask properly. I don't know what the problem is. I just hate it. It's a bit of a faff. But that's one of the things you got to do with spraying. But the spraying itself was really worth it. I did the whole lot in 1 day, which if you think about the size of it, that was some mean feat, and colour looks fantastic. So matches the main house, which is what we wanted to do. But not only does it give it a nice appearance, it also gives it a good level of protection as well. So there you go. Thanks very much for watching. Hope that's been really useful. Stay tuned and I'll see you on the next video.